Questions after a tragic fire in Toronto's North End kills one man and injures several others. Hundreds of occupants at 235 Gosford Boulevard are also forced to evacuate. Many still not able to come home more than 3 months later. We're learning more today about what caused the fire at this North York high-rise back in November. The Ontario Fire Marshal has determined it was accidental and that the death of that occupant could have been prevented. The report released by the Ontario Fire Marshal states that the fire was caused by a space heater in a bedroom apartment on the 8th floor inside 235 Gosford Boulevard.
A portable heater placed too close to combustibles, more specifically the mattress, in one of the bedrooms in the apartment.
The OFM says the smoke alarm was then activated, but the occupants ignored the alarm for a period of time, and no one called 911.
They realized there was actually smoke in the apartment and went to investigate. They saw that there was an actual fire. And at that point, it was too advanced, but unfortunately, they attempted to extinguish themselves using some pots with water, but it was unsuccessful. And unfortunately, one of the victim went onto the balcony to seek refuge, and the other occupant went outside.
By the time firefighters arrived, it was too late for the occupant who was still inside. In the moments the alarm rang and smoke and fire began to spread, no one called 911. Emergency officials were only notified by a monitored smoke detector in the hallway. In the time occupants took to respond to the fire, 9 minutes passed. In the context of fighting fires, that was precious time. And had the occupants called 911 immediately,
the occupants would still be here. We wouldn't have this tragedy. Toronto Fire Services would have been able to go there, and it would have been a one-bedroom, small apartment fire, which they handle routinely daily. Every second counts, and that's why these smoke alarms are so important, because they're so sensitive and they go off very early in the early stages of an incident.
In many cases, the OFM says the big factor for fatal fires is the lack of working or functioning smoke alarms. But in the case of the Gosford fire, the smoke detectors worked and set off a warning. That was ignored.
Part of the problem is people automatically assume it's a nuisance, and it isn't. It's usually a valid reason unless the battery is failing. So please treat it seriously and try and determine why that alarm is going off.
A number of residents were able to return back home here, while others, having a total of 29 units, suffered extensive damage as a result of this fire and will be able to reoccupy for another year.